didn't even look at his paper once. Well, one, because he memorized it. Two, because he's been doing this for a long time. But I mean, he's very comfortable with doing stuff, and he was making gestures, you know, making subtle jokes too. But that's just all part of like being comfortable with being in public. I feel like that's what improv kind of prepares you for, is just being more open and not like spontaneous all the time, but more open and comfortable to like the big world, I guess.
Yeah, open, comfortable, confident, knowing that you're able to handle any kind of an unknown situation because you're able to be present. You're not worried about how you're going to do, you just simply do it. And that's, I think, a good skill. It's a good life skill.
Yeah.
So what do you think you'll use this training to do? How could you put it to use in your life, other than on the stage?
Well, definitely in school, public speaking is going to help. Also, like, next year I'll be in college, you know, getting to know new people. I'll be comfortable with, like, because the classes, I went to a couple different classes of yours, and it wasn't the same people every time, you know. So getting to know new people on the fly within an hour, and then by the end walking out and feeling, I kind of know this person. Like, if they were my neighbor, like, you walk in, you don't know them. You walk out feeling like you've lived next door to them for 5 years.
Right.
So.
And it's because you stay in the moment with them, and you're present, and you listen, and you respond based on what you hear, not what you think you hear, just what you hear.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to stand you in good stead throughout your career.
I also feel like public speaking it'll play a huge part. One, because it makes you comfortable with doing things you're not used to. And, you know, like, kids come out of, like, the average kid will come out of high school, you know, giving, say, 10 presentations throughout 3 or 4 years through high school. And, I mean, that doesn't really prepare you, because, I mean, you'll go into college and it'll be a lot harder. And for the average kid that goes into business and comes out and starts working a corporate job, he's going to have to be giving presentations to the higher-ups. And, you know, if he's sitting there sweating, shaking, and stuttering, it's not really going to look good for him. He's either going to get fired or moved down.
Right. So the confidence you have in being able to handle any spontaneous situation is going to help you in your career, whatever you choose. Well, I think you learned a lot in the classes that you took with me.
Thank you. What were your point of views on, like, what I was doing best out of, like, our exercises?
Well, the things that you came equipped with very strongly that were your assets in the class were the fact that you were willing to try new things, and that you didn't prejudge how you were going to do something. You just gave it a try. Now, whether you succeeded or not was the next point, but that you were willing to just stand up and try anything showed me that a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people want to hang back and wait to see, because they want to know how to please the teacher.
Yeah.
I think you were just interested in the experience for yourself. When you got involved with some of the people in the class, I think a lot of times you gave it a good shot, especially if it was something nonverbal. I think when you started to work with some verbal ideas, I think you came with some preconceived notions of wanting to be funny.
Yeah.
And I hope that I kind of convinced you that that's not the right way to go. So, because when you decide you want to be funny, what you do in an improvisation is you shut the other person off, and you just sort of use them as a prop to get your joke out. And when you drop that and you're just communicating like we're communicating now, you're not trying to think of jokes. And that communication is actually much more exciting to watch on stage. And I think you know, that was your weak point at the beginning. I think that you like verbal agility, but verbal agility for yourself is one thing, but verbal agility when it relates to communicating with another person, you know, you need to be able to respond openly and honestly. And I think by the end you got that idea that, you know, I kept saying you don't have to be funny.
Yeah.
So, but your strong points were your willingness, openness to play strongly, because every game has a focus, and when I state the focus, you really tried to achieve that focus as hard as you could, to the best of your understanding. I think especially the one thing that sticks out in my mind from one of the last workshops you took was when we worked with space objects. And I know you created a gun,
Yeah.
and it was sort of a gun, you know, I'm going to shoot somebody. But when I actually got you to focus on breaking it down and working with it, the gun actually showed up as a real prop in your hand, because you were so absorbed in really seeing what you were doing, rather than using the gun to say, hey, look at me. And I think that was a very valuable thing, because this work is not about being egocentric. It's not about telling the audience, hey, look at me. It's, hey, look at what we're doing together. And I think you finally got that. And by the end, when we did our gibberish party, well, we made it your graduation party.
Yeah.
You had a lot of conversations with 10 or 15 people without using one word of English. And you remember what was being told to you and being said to you?
It was all just congratulations and can't wait to see what you do in the future, like where are you going next year.
And
like
were you able to identify everybody's relationship to you
yeah.
as the graduating person? Who were some of the people in that scene?
Well, it was like my great aunt, my grandmother, my mother, my father, you know, like the creepy uncle or the weird uncle, and then the rich uncle, and then a couple cousins or something like that. And
Right.
then
And I was the maitre d'.
older sister or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And the bartender too, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of communication got done without using any English. And but you remember those relationships. That's what the audience pays their money to see, is people involved in relationships, not involved in trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest takeaway you can get out of the workshops you took with me. All right?
That's pretty fun, yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations and
Thank
good
you
luck.
very much.